Well, friends, this is the 9th of Rizwan. The 9th of Rizwan. You know why the 9th of Rizwan we keep it as a holiday while Rizwan was 12 days? The first day, Baha'u'llah went from Baghdad to the Garden of Rizwan, and the Tigris was flooding at that time, and they could not, the family could not join him. So by the 9th day was the day that the family could join Baha'u'llah, and then another 3 days they came back, and the 12 days of Rizwan finalized. According to the eyewitnesses, one of the things that Baha'u'llah in the Garden of Rizwan talked about was that at the time there were some few other things that you can go to the history books, like the Revelation of Baha'u'llah by Adi Zadeh, and basically look to those subjects that Baha'u'llah covered those days. But one of the most important one of them was that he said at the time of this revelation, the reality of all created things ascended to the highest capacity they could have. One of the meanings of that is that the spirits and the power that was released in the world of creation, the contingent world, was at the highest at the time of revelation of the creative word of God and Baha'u'llah's mission. And this has been proven in some books like I Shall Come Again, for example, by Mr. Bijan Motlagh, which unfortunately I'm not related to him. Unfortunately for me. He's such a nice scholar. And those days, which we cover that first period of Baha'i administration or Baha'i era, we call it Apostolic Age of Baha'i Faith, 77 years, from the 1844 until the ascension of Abdul Baha. This 77 years was the years that we can say the best springtime of Baha'i revelation. It produced spiritual beings that were unheard of in the history of all of the religions. We had thousands of them in the history of Baha'i faith. They were embodiments of Baha'u'llah's teaching. They were examples of sacrifice. And their degree of loyalty was did not have any match in any portion of religion's history of the past. And we have, as I mentioned, not hundreds, thousands of them. See, let me tell you how Beloved Guardian actually, this is one of the writings I chose, is defining those days and those individuals. He says, few indeed are the instances recorded in any of the authenticated annals of the religions of the past of a self-abnegation as complete, a constancy as firm, a magnanimity as sublime, a loyalty as uncompromising. And he's talking about those spiritual souls that actually raised their support and believed in this new cause in that period of time. One of these individuals was Sheikh Salman, which is related to the subject I want to talk about today. Salman was a of course Muslim, living in a southwest of Iran, Hindijan. His name was Sheikh Khanjar, and later Baha'u'llah called him Salman, reminiscent of Salman, which was at the time of Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad, Ruzbeh, that Muhammad called him Salman, and he called him as one of the members of his own family. This Salman was in about 6 years, 1850 or 51, he became Baha'i. He believed he become Baha'i at the time. And in the year 1853, went to Baghdad to the presence of Baha'u'llah. He took some letters from the city that he was born, Hindijan, to Baha'u'llah, and asked for Baha'u'llah's answer to those. Also remember, in 1853, it was only 9 years after the declaration of Bath, 1844, and Baha'u'llah was not that much known at the time. However, he, according to his heart, he knew, and he went to him, took those letters, and asked for the answer to them. Now, this is the portion that amazes you. He did that for another 39 years for Baha'u'llah. Every single year, he came on foot from wherever he was, went to the friends, got their letters, took them to Baha'u'llah, got the answers, brought them back to their cities, and give it to the friends. He could not read and write. He was unlettered. And however, never made a mistake. He used to ask friends, some friends of course, can you read this tablet for me? And he goes and reads the tablet, and he knows who is going to be the recipient of this tablet. Baha'u'llah had utmost trust in Salman. At some point, Baha'u'llah actually allowed him to give permission to whomsoever he feels right to go to visit Baha'u'llah. That permission was never given to anybody, but Salman had it. Another, Salman, when Munira Khanum, that later became wife of Abdul Baha, wanted to go to Akka, Salman was the one that accompanied him and was actually commissioned by Baha'u'llah to go and accompany Munira Khanum to Akka. From these two, I believe you can imagine the degree of trust that Baha'u'llah had in this individual. His name is also immortalized by beloved master in the book that is Memorials of the Faithful. Abdul Baha goes and writes about 69 of those individuals that we talk about, of those thousands in this, for us to have some understanding of the way of their life, of the sacrifices that they made. And I encourage you to read this, either in Persian or English, because it's extremely important for us to know these people. Now, he actually wrote about Salman, and let me tell you what he says. He says, from the dawn of the history until the present day, there has never been a messenger so worthy of trust. There has never been a courier to compare with Salman. Upon him be the glory of God, the all-glorious, unto him be salutation and praise. So, Baha'u'llah, actually, in all of those years, to this unlettered disciple of himself, issued some tablets. That most of those tablets, to my surprise and to everybody's surprise, is dealing with extremely difficult subjects about the unity of God, about philosophical issues, about the mysteries of the writings and all of that. One of the tablets actually to him is the tablet, they call it the City of Unity. There are also other tablets. There are two tablets that they named, we remember them or we know them as Tablet of Salman. One of them was issued in Adrianople, one of them was issued in Akka. The one that we are going to talk about, one portion of it, is the one that was issued in Adrianople. In that tablet, Baha'u'llah starts to talk with Salman and say that you need to study the writings, the people need to study the writings deeply and look and meditate upon their inner meanings of the words that has been revealed. And then also he talks about, remember, this is Adrianople, this is the time that it was very difficult in the life of Baha'u'llah in terms of the difficulties that was surrounding him. Remember, he went from Tehran to Baghdad, and from Baghdad went to Adrianople. And in that city, he was subject to a lot of difficulties, enmity of none less than his own brother. He gave him poison, they put poison in their drinking water, and all of those difficulties that you cannot even, or I cannot imagine. And he said to Salman, because of this, he said, Salman, today is the manifestation of the injunction, there is no God but God. Now, what he meant by that? He said today is the manifestation of this writing in Islam, La ilaha illallah, which means there is no God but God. What he meant was, he meant that the letter of negation, La, in this statement has come before the letter of affirmation, Allah. Now, why this is important? He says that ascendancy has given to the people that are against us. The letters of negation have been given power and preceding the letters of affirmation. He referred to that day. This statement in Islam has a huge significance, both from the philosophical and logical standpoint, because this statement from the logical standpoint, when I say logical, not like we can sit and philosophize about it. Logic like the science of logic. It's a very significant statement that refers to the unity of God. and oneness of God. Why it refers to oneness of God? Because if you simply make one statement, like there is God, you cannot eliminate that is only one God or two God in logic. In logical term, it can refer to 1, 2, 3, 4, anything. But when you first say there is no God, but God, you refer to one and only. Now, a few, about 15, 16 years ago, I wrote about 20, 30 pages, went to some logicians and their writings, that what they say about the significance of this statement, that not necessarily la ilaha illallah, but a statement that goes in that order, that you eliminate everything and then just go with affirmation of one subject, that it leads to the concept of the oneness of that subject. But right now, just take it from me, that in terms of a logic, it goes to one and only, refers to one and only. In terms of this spiritual significance, this statement that was revealed by Muhammad is in Quran also, has been accepted as a standard of oneness of God in Muslim religion. It has been accepted as one of the 4 pillars of unity of God, one of the 4 arkan arba'iyya tawhid, I say it in the way that it is, which is tasbih wa tahleel wa tahmeed wa takbir. This is tahleel, so is one of the pillars of the unity and oneness of God, and it is a standard of Islam. Simply, the most important thing in Islam. Now, let me go back. I bring it together. Don't say what happened to Salman. We will talk about it. We get back to it. Abdul Baha has a tablet that they call it, that tablet, the 1000 verse tablet. In that tablet, inspiring by the word of Baha'u'llah and interpretation of Baha'u'llah, of this letter of negation that preceded the letter of affirmation in this statement, Abdul Baha says that in the last in the dispensation of Islam, because of the hidden wisdom that we don't know, and this statement has revealed, the letters of negation preceded the letters of affirmation in that dispensation. For example, we see that Imam Ali, that was a successor of Muhammad, was denied the successorship after Muhammad. And throughout the age of Islam, you can see all of the 12 Imams, they were poisoned, martyred. It also caused the martyrdom of Imam Hussein. These are what Abdul Baha says in general in that tablet. And that letters of negation that preceded the letters of affirmation continued for 1300 years until it consummated to the martyrdom of Bab, martyrdom of thousands of Babis, and imprisonment and banishment of Baha'u'llah. This is what Abdul Baha says, that it was because of the effects of this creative word of God that was revealed at the time of Muhammad. Now, let's go back to Tablet of Salman. In that tablet, later of the portion that I mentioned to you, Baha'u'llah goes and with some omnipotent language says, "O Salman, the pen of mercy announces, in this revelation, I removed the letter of negation from the beginning of that of affirmation." Did you follow me?
Read that one more time.
It says, "O Salman, in this, the pen of mercy announces, in this revelation, I removed the letter of negation from the beginning of that of affirmation." He says,
No,
I removed this.
Yeah. But God.
You know. What he says, I reversed this mighty 1300 years old process in the religion history that caused all of those sufferings, all of those martyrdoms, all of those ascendancy of the letters of negation to the letters of affirmation. I stopped it. I removed it. The evidence of the power of the word of Baha'u'llah is not something new for us. And the way that he always explained the creative world and its effect in the contingent world is not something that we don't know. But the power that he announced these things, these concepts, and the way that he wants to change the world of existence is unbelievable. This is another writing of Baha'u'llah that is dealing with the same concepts, with the same power. And I will tell you that actually Baha'u'llah, when he went to Adrianople, he started to talk like this and reveal tablets like this. The tablets to the kings, the tablets to the queen, the tablet of Haykal, and all of those tablets, and even this tablet of Salman. Because with a mere movement of his pen, he says, I announced that I removed it. It's like somebody go there, and this mighty river is flowing, and he says, go that way. How hard it is that he announced that I removed this process, I changed it. Now, listen to this statement of Baha'u'llah. I testify that no sooner had the first word proceeded through the potency of thy will and purpose out of his mouth, Baha'u'llah's mouth, and the first call gone forth from his lips, that the whole creation was revolutionized, and all that are in the heavens and all that are on earth were stirred to the depths. Through that world, the realities of all created things were shaken, were divided, separated, scattered, combined, and reunited, disclosing in both the contingent world and the heavenly kingdom entities of a new creation, and revealing in the unseen realms the signs and tokens of thy unity and oneness. This is what happens, that with a single word from his mouth happens. This process. So we are not unfamiliar with the way that Baha'u'llah actually imposed his will to the world of creation. But still, this process, 1300 years process, to be reversed like that, it's exciting, it's interesting, it's surprising, it's inspiring. Now, the symbolic meaning of this removal of the letters of negation from the preceding of those of affirmation, it actually encompasses the whole cause of Baha'u'llah. However, we can give you some examples of that, what is the implication of this word of Baha'u'llah. The foremost implication of this is in the covenant of Baha'u'llah. You look at the history of the Baha'i faith. Baha'u'llah himself, in Adrianople, is under the imprisonment of the two kings and two countries, the Ottoman Empire and Persia. His brother, next door neighbor, is trying to kill him. Some of the close people to him have gone and joined him. A lot of difficulties. Sometimes his brother goes to the Ottoman government and says, they do not give my money to me that you give them. But these type of things. Now he is this person. He is manifestation of God. And he has to deal with these issues. Under all of those difficulties, at that time he reveals this injunction. And he says, I remove this. What happens after that? He moves to Akka in August of 1868. The brother goes to Cyprus. And you know the rest of the history. Nothing happened to the unity of the faith. The letters of negation did not ascend the letters of affirmation in this faith. Because in the time of Muhammad, they were preceded, Abu Bakr and those other, after Muhammad, Abu Bakr and Umar and Usman, basically they become the successors of Muhammad. Before Imam Ali, that was the real successor, could go there. And that by itself caused the separation and division in the faith of Muhammad. And from that very beginning, it made it weak, separated the faith. But in the Baha'i faith, with everything that was happening, the unity of the faith was protected. Go further, look at the time of Abdul Baha. No one less than his brother that was able to reveal creative word at the age of 6, that had a beautiful handwriting, that a lot of believers in Iran and Hindustan, they know him. He raised against Abdul Baha. And he thought that he can have some standing there. Again, the will of Baha'u'llah prevented him of coming and becoming actually ascended to the letter of affirmation that was Abdul Baha himself. Go further. At the time of passing of Abdul Baha, the beloved guardian, a young beloved guardian of the faith, according to the will and testament of Abdul Baha, was by himself and by the greatest holy leaf alone. His family, his mother, sisters, everybody was against him. Nobody actually believed in him. In the immediate family there. But what happened? The unity of the faith still was protected. The division did not happen. Baha'i, he became the guardian of the faith and he ran his course and he did his job. After the Guardian, all of the Baha'is of the world were tested through the implications of the will and the testament of Abdul Baha, and why the Guardian of the Faith do not have will and testament, why he does not have a male son, and what is going to happen to the guardianship in the Baha'i Faith, and all of that. And we went through that period of time and through those tests. And again, the unity of the faith was protected. Never the letters of negation came over the letters of affirmation in this faith. And this is only one of the symbolic meanings of that letter, of that will, of that what Baha'u'llah revealed in the tablet of Salman. You might say, in this subject actually, you might say that, well, there are some people, we know there are some people that they are calling themselves Orthodox Baha'is, there are some people that call themselves this, that, they have website, they have this, they have that. Don't worry about it. That those are not comparable. Don't feel that if the Baha'i Faith has one website and Orthodox Baha'is have one website, these are the same. Just because there is only one, this is one page and that is one page. These are not comparable. The point is, the ocean, the same way the ocean brings forth the, the pearls to the shores, it brings the weeds and those bubbles. It's the same movement. The ocean of the cause of Baha'u'llah, in the same motion that brings the people like Khadim, like Khazin, like the hands of the cause, like Samandari. It also brings some souls like Raymi and Ma'ani and this and that, but they are bubbles. Of course, you can see them for a few seconds, but they go away. This is a cause that is supposed to be for at least 1,000 years and inspire for 500,000 years. This is not a cause that we are talking about, a bubble that comes and within 10, 15 years nobody remembers what happened to them. So those are not comparable with the strength of the cause of God. They never preceded the letters of affirmation. The unity of the faith has been protected by Baha'u'llah. And this is exactly also the promise that in the tablet of branch he gives to us. So this is not all our deduction from this letter, the tablet of Salman, and our understanding of it. No, Baha'u'llah also in the tablet of the branch to Abdul Baha says, whosoever deviates from the shade of the branch will perish. Now, another examples of this symbolic meaning of of this statement of Baha'u'llah is that in the previous revelations, that after the passing of the manifestation of God and the religion starts certain decline as a result of personal understandings and enmity and all of other things, and the day, actually the day of the Son of Reality becomes at the end a night, in the Baha'i revelation this will not happen. And we have had glad tidings in the old revelations, in the previous revelations, about the day which will not be followed by night. And that meaning is exactly referring to this concept that the letters of negation never come and shadow those of affirmation. Another example of this implication of this statement of Baha'u'llah is that the powers from the kings, the rulers, and the clergy was seized in this revelation, because they were the letters of negation. They were the ones that always extinguished the light of truth, and they wanted to impose their own will instead of the cause of the will of the manifestation of God. They always inflicted harm to the body of the cause of God. This will not happen. And again, this is not our understanding. Baha'u'llah exactly mentioned that in this revelation we took the power from clergy and from the kings and rulers. And we see the evidence of it actually recently. You can see it more than any time else in the history. Let's go back to Tablet of Salman. What happens when the letter of negation is removed from the front of affirmation? So what happened to law, there is no God but God? What happened to la ilaha illallah? If Baha'u'llah removed it, what is it instead? He is God in this dispensation that we believe is sitting instead of there is no God but God. It was not logically possible to be the injunction and statement of the reference to God in the previous manifestations. Why? Because we did not have the perfect example of names and attributes of God yet to be manifested in the world of contingent world. This is not something that Baha'is invented. This is something that is in the previous revelations, in the previous books. They all referred us to the day that the God will lead his people from darkness into light. The day that the earth will shine with the light of his Lord. The day that you will visit your Lord. All of these references, these are references to some future event, and these are references to some perfect manifestation of God on earth. Imam Ali has a statement. He says, expect the manifestation of him who conversed with Moses through the burning bush. Expect his manifestation. Expect that he comes. He didn't say he came. He didn't say it was in the dispensation of Muhammad. He says expect it to come. When Sheikh Ahmad Ahsai and Sayyid Kazim al-Rashdi actually asked him, you remember, they were talking about the advent of Qa'im, primal point, but at some point, Sayyid Kazim al-Rashdi asked him, his disciple asked him that, all right, what is all other references to another manifestation? Is that the same? He said no. And he asked him, what is it that that manifestation, how that manifestation is going to be and pass? He said, it is not beseeming for me to answer that. You will hear about it after Hain, which is the verse of Quran that says after the year 68, referring to Hain. In the Abjad numeric system, Hain is 68. So this has not been something hidden from the knowledge of the people, that we are expecting a great manifestation, a perfect manifestation of the God on this earth. Actually, one of the meanings of the tree which is nor from the east nor from the west, what is the time that is neither east nor west? It's right in the middle of the noon, which is not to the east. The sun of reality is not even leaning to the east, neither to the west. And that is a perfect maximum power, downpour of power. And this has been referred to the dispensation of Baha'u'llah. And in the previous time, before his manifestation, the reference to God by the affirmative statement that he is God was not possible. Because how we can refer to something if we do not have something to show that this is he? I mean, how you can explain this piece of paper if you cannot give some attributes and some names to it? Unless that attribute and name is obvious to us, we cannot refer to something logically, and in this case to God, but through the perfect manifestation of Baha'u'llah and complete manifestation of his names and attributes. In this dispensation, the reference to God has been he is God. And this he is God does not mean that we are ignorant of the fact that Baha'u'llah is manifestation of that God. But it also means whatever we think about God is not going further than him. Even when Jesus Christ said, I am the gate, that whoever wants to go through his Lord, to his Lord, he needs to pass through me. We are always thinking about the gate of something, some space that is open. If that was the case, the people were going further, closer to God than Jesus Christ. Because if this is the gate, and I am passing through it, so I am going closer to God than Jesus. No. The gate means you wanted to go to this house. I am the gate. And you stop at me. Whatever is in the house is here. This is it for you. Stay here. Not that you can pass. Yeah, he says you can pass. You can pass through recognition of him. Not you can pass physically to go and bypass him, actually. It's passing, not bypassing. Anyway, we went through a little bit of ups and downs. I feel, I don't know the timing. I say Allah, but if you have some questions, some things, maybe we can talk about it. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.